to Epic Talk. My name is Timothy Phelps, and I just want to first and foremost thank everybody who's tuning in live on Facebook, YouTube, also Clubhouse and StarMaker. We've got several people on today, so I just want to thank you all for joining in. And today we're going to talk a little bit about imposter syndrome. Now, to kind of tell what imposter syndrome is, I want to kind of tell a little story. So a lot of times throughout our lives, we'll start something new. Maybe it be a job or something. And we just feel as though we're not able to maybe do the job, or we feel as though, we feel like we're an imposter, like we don't belong, like we're not good enough, like we're unable to truly bring anything to the table, so to speak. And it's a lie that we tell ourselves, and it's brought on a lot of times throughout our lives because of things that we're told. Maybe we're told we're not good enough. Maybe we're told we can't do stuff. It got me thinking earlier this week. Throughout our lives, we're always asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And then we will start telling what we want to do. And what happens is we're told a lot of times that it's unrealistic or that we can't do that thing. And it trains our brain to feel as though we can't. So I just want to share my screen here for those that are on YouTube and Facebook. I know that the people on Clubhouse as well as those that are on StarMaker can't see this, but I will tell what's on the screen as well here. So let me share this. Just one moment. All right, so I want to talk about 3 tactics that we can do to deal with imposter syndrome. So, of course, imposter syndrome is a belief that success that has been earned is not deserved nor worthy of praise and attention. Many people with imposter syndrome find themselves crippled by fear that others will discover that they aren't as knowledgeable or skilled as they seem to be. Thus, they work hard to prevent this from happening, or they avoid scenarios where they feel exposed. At the same time, there are various ways to begin to deal with imposter syndrome. And the rest of the article, the rest that we're going to speak on today, outlines those 3 strategies. And this is the perfect starting point. So one of the first things is to replace negative thinking. This requires actively noting those thoughts that we have about ourselves that are discouraging and negative, and addressing them at that moment. This works to interrupt negative thought patterns that reinforce negative imposter syndrome. And by shutting down those negative thoughts, we keep them from taking root. We redirect them towards stuff that uplifts us, encourages us, and highlights our capabilities and our potential. And this essentially keeps the thoughts that serve as a foundation of imposter syndrome from developing, giving little to no room for the syndrome to thrive. Now, I talk a lot about this, replacing those negative thoughts to be more positive. And many of you have heard me talk about the magic mirror. And that is a system that I developed that helped me to overcome my own negativity, because I used to be one of the most negative people that you've ever met. And now I get told all the time that I'm one of the positive people. And that took a long time to retrain my brain, so to speak, so that I was able to be more positive no matter the situation. I remember, listening to a story of a guy who had lost $2 million. $2 million he had lost. And his attitude was that this gives him a new way of seeing things. It gives him a new opportunity to start fresh and to prove to himself and to others that he can do this again. It gives him a way of a new opportunity to think outside the box. And I'm sitting here thinking at that point in my life, I was like, wow, how can you be so positive? And it was that day that I stood in front of a mirror that sparked an ideal in which led me to that secret of life. Now, this is something that I speak on more in my epic growth experience that I'm creating. But for now, that's all I want to say on that subject. We'll move on to the next tactic, and that is track and measure success. Often, people with imposter syndrome do not attribute their successes to their efforts. It feeds the belief that they're not deserving of their accomplishments. However, when we track and we measure our success, it can be challenging actually to overlook it. Being intentional about capturing our efforts and the successes that lead us to directly combat ideals about our lack of ability or our intellect by proving on paper how our efforts have led to a positive outcome. If we can visibly see that we are responsible for achieving good things, it can not only boost confidence, but can throw a dent in imposter syndrome. Now, in my epic growth experience, one of the things that we actually dive into is epic goal setting. Now, within this, there's several tips. One being, whenever you're setting your goals, to make sure that every day you have maybe 3 to 5 different goals that are simple things that you can achieve throughout the day, but things you know you need to do. Now, this can be as simple as making your bed. So every day, when you achieve these 3 to 5 simple goals, at the end of the day, you make sure to celebrate them. And you make sure that there are things that you can achieve. Now, I know this might sound, kind of strange to set goals that you know that you can do, set goals that are so simple. But the reason for this is, like I said, throughout our lives, we are brainwashed, so to speak, to believe that we're not capable of being successful, to believe that we can't do things. So by setting these simple goals, and then at the end of the day, we celebrate those successes by doing something that you know that you love. An it's having a special treat, a piece of candy that you love. Maybe you love to sing, so you go on an app like Maker that I use here, and you enjoy some time just singing. Or maybe it's that you know that the greatest joy in your life is spending a little bit extra time with your kids. So at the end of the day, you end your day by making sure that you set time aside to do something special with your kids. Maybe watch a TV show together, or maybe play a board game, or whatever the case may be. Just something to celebrate those successes that you had throughout the day, as well as any others that you had as well. This is just, like I said, one of the tips that I give in the section Epic Goal Setting within my Epic Growth System. And that's all I'm going to say on that subject for right now. There's many other tips that we'll discuss for anyone who's within that system with that program, but we'll move on to the next section here, a growth mindset. Now, a growth mindset is an ideal that we are not fixed to our current capabilities or knowledge. Rather, it's a belief that over time, we can grow and we can increase our knowledge and abilities with some effort and energy. A growth mindset helps us to better cope with scenarios where we're critiqued, or challenged, or face failure. When we understand that these instances are simple growth opportunities, we'll be less likely to internalize them as proof of failure or inadequacy. Thus, we become more resilient and can actively seek out additional opportunities for learning and growth. And we're all capable of learning and growing. At my darkest hour, I was determined for a change in my life. And I began studying different people so that I could have that personal self-development growth, so that I could learn as much as I could. And one thing that I realized is that the foundation of living your most epic life is your mindset. And I always say, if you can get your mind right, everything else just falls into place. If we can change our mindset, we can truly change our lives. And God has given us so many great tools to be able to learn and grow. The internet can be a very negative thing, but at the same time, there are so many things available to us. It doesn't matter if you have a desire to learn something, you can go online and watch YouTube videos or whatever. There's so many great opportunities to learn and grow. And you can learn it because we've been given a mind. Simple put, we've been given a mind that can learn and can grow. We just have to take action. Now, folks, I want to offer something today. I've mentioned several times about my epic growth experience. This is your personal transformation for the epic lifestyle that you deserve. Now, just tell you a little bit about what's in this growth experience. There's a section about retraining your brain, having a positive mindset, as well as other great tips of retraining your brain. There's a section called self-love, where we deep dive into believing in yourself and loving yourself more. Because you have to be able to love yourself to truly love those around you and to truly be acceptant of love. If you don't love yourself, it's hard for you to see how someone else can love you as well, and we can self-sabotage in those situations. There's another section called the driving force. Now, this is all about overcoming fears. Instead of allowing fears to push us away, it becomes the thing that drives us and moves us forwards in our life so that we can reach heights that we never thought possible. As well as epic goals and setting of goals, which I told a tip earlier within this talk, but man, we dive so much deeper. Epic love. I know so many people feel like they're not loved. There's so many people who feel like, they're not even worthy of love. So many people feel like they're not able to love someone the way that they should. And in this section, we deep dive into different scenarios and talk about different tips on how to not only love someone to their language, but to also just be able to love ourselves even more. It works kind of hand in hand with the self-love section. Epic life, just living our most epic life, and not only living it, but truly experiencing it. And of course, then we dive into epic career, because everybody, is always talking about, well, not everybody, but most people talk about finances and how they don't feel worthy of or don't feel capable of doing certain things. Maybe they feel stuck in their careers, and we talk about how to get feeling unstuck and to be able to live your most epic life, even within your career, and to be able to advance within your career. Now, just these things alone is almost a $2,000 value. But when we start this experience here soon, there's going to be a lot of bonuses as well that's going to way even far exceed this. But I want to do something absolutely crazy for each and every person who's listening or watching. I want to offer you an opportunity to be part of the very first epic growth experience, absolutely free. Absolutely free. Now, I know this might sound crazy, but I want to do this. And all I will ask in return is that at the end of it, you give an honest review of this experience. Maybe tell how you felt or where you was in life before it, and how you feel and where you're at in life after. Now, I know everybody who's watching here can see exactly how to take advantage of this, but there's some people that's either on Clubhouse or watching on StoryMaker that cannot see this. So what you do is you go to www.coachphelps, that's PHELPS, canhelp.com. www.coachphelpscanhelp.com. Click on the Contact Me tab, and in the message box, type free growth. Now, at the end of it, what I'm going to do is I will take everybody who has went to coachphelpscanhelp.com and send a message by going to the Contact Me tab into a drawing, and I'm going to draw for 3 people to take opportunity for a free part within this growth experience. This will be absolutely incredible. And the only thing I ask is at the end of it that you give an honest review, whether good or bad, but I guarantee it will be good. After all, this is the personal transformation for the lifestyle that you deserve. To thank everyone who tuned in. There's several people that came and went within the Clubhouse. I know there's been people on Facebook, people on YouTube, people on StoryMaker, and I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. I know this has kind of been a short broadcast today, but I am so excited for the epic growth experience. And I'm so excited for anyone who takes advantage of this today and has an opportunity to join this experience for free. In the end, I showed you what we've already got offering that's right around $2,000 value. And there's many bonuses that we're working on right now. And I know one that's going to be an absolute game changer. And the value, oh man, it's priceless. I want to leave you with one last thing. You know, I talked about in my life how I've started new jobs or started new things in my life that I wanted to do. And I struggled to believe at that time in my life how I was able. I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel capable. And I felt like an imposter. And I used to say, I can't all the time. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't should be removed from our vocabulary because we are we are capable of doing anything. Anything. And throughout my life, there's many things that I said that I wanted to be. I wanted to be an officer at one point in my life. I wanted to be an educator. I wanted to help those that struggled with mental illness. And so many times in my life, I said I couldn't. Many more times than just those things. But one thing that I challenged myself to do was to complete every single thing in my life that I said I couldn't. So for several years, I was an officer. For 7.5 years, I worked as an educator, and at the same time was caring for individuals which had mental retardation, acquired brain injuries, or developmental disabilities. There's so many other things in my life that I ended up achieving that I once said that I couldn't do. And that's just further proof that we can do anything if we truly have that massive ambition, that strong desire for success. There's only one thing in my life that I ever said that I wanted to be when I got older, and which I didn't accomplish. And the only thing that I can still today say that I can't do. Why is that? After I've sat here and said that you can do anything, it's because I wanted to be a fish. I don't think I'll ever achieve that. I don't think I can ever be a fish. But everything else I achieved, and I know there's so much more that I will achieve before it's all said and done. And a lot of people say it's lonely at the top, but I'm here to tell you it's only lonely at the top if you're not willing to take anybody with you. And I want to take everybody with me that I can. Thank you all so much for joining in for this epic talk about imposter syndrome. And I'll see you next Monday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Have a blessed day.